A new era in Vikings football just started tonight for your Minnesota Vikings. And Tyler just got back from the Fillmore where he was adding color and information to Purple Daily's draft party, which did outstanding. He is back in his seat. He's got Odie in the room, and we're about to tell you all the great things that happened tonight on day one of the NFL draft for your Minnesota Vikings. Starting next.
Let's go, it's time to be the GOAT. It's time to enter God mode, man, let's get it going. I wanna be the greatest, energy is overflowing. I know I'm stoking the fire, my desire's taking over, not tired, I'm inspired, rewired. I know just what is required, my brain knows how to decipher. The message is looking brighter, already paid up the pipe, but my game is getting much tighter. I feel my body on fire,
There we go. That was a weird freeze. Tyler, how was it?
Oh, I am tired. I am beat. Odie is wandering around like, "What, Dad? It's midnight. What are we doing?" But let me tell you, I am overwhelmed and humbled by the response from people at the draft party. I had about 10 people ask me to take pictures with them. That was really cool. No, it was a great time. I love the Score North guys, and the behind the scenes crew is just outstanding. And it was an A+ event, and I was lucky enough to be able to do it, and not only do it, but also do all my written work too, which I wrote, I want to say 15-ish pieces on top of doing grades for, I think I did about half the grades. I didn't do either of the Vikings ones for Sports Illustrated, but I did them for Sporting News. So just doing a lot of different stuff. And oh boy, do we have a lot to talk about, Dave. We have a lot to discuss.
Yes, we do. What a night. Hey, it started out as expected. The Chicago Bears were on the clock, and they selected Caleb Williams. Hey there, Jonas. I figured you try to be catching some sleep.
Good morning, sir. Welcome. Hey, you know what? He is a monster, and I mean that in an incredibly positive way. That's some dedication from the Europe people to stay up. And the fact that they had to stay up for a second pick is even more dedication. So, all right. I didn't get a chance to talk a lot about every pick. Didn't get a chance to kind of break everything down. So here's what I'm thinking. Let's kind of talk about, I'm trying to find, maybe I just shouldn't do ESPN. Oh, here we go. Wrong one. Perfect. Let's have a conversation about kind of each pick. We'll kind of go down the line, talk quickly about some stuff. And some of these are going to relate really well to the Vikings, which I think is the most important thing here. We're talking about the Minnesota Vikings, right, Odie? Good boy.
The Vikings is the most important thing here, but there are other extenuating circumstances that tied in to what the Vikings did tonight.
Yeah. It was honestly really impressive the way that, oh yeah, Jonas is going to work. I suppose when you're in Germany. Yeah,
but he's been up all night. I've been watching him on Twitter.
Yeah. Oh, Odie, that stinks, buddy. I had a guy actually ask me, "Hey, did you bring Odie? He's just as famous as you are." I'm like, "No, Mom." I asked my wife, and she said no, and she's right. So I mean, that's wives. They're usually right. So let's kind of just talk some big picture stuff with some of these picks. And a lot of these picks are going to really determine what the Vikings ended up doing, which I think is a big part of this conversation, Dave. So first overall, Caleb Williams, we're going to ignore that. Jaden Daniels goes to the Washington Commanders. We kind of knew that. There was some maybe discussion. Hey, could it be Drake Maye? Could maybe JJ McCarthy get up there? My lean on it was McCarthy had a chance to go 3, but not 2. Cliff Kingsbury really prioritizes what Jaden Daniels has and how he approaches the game. So that's kind of the way that is. And then 3, we're all really excited about the potential of getting Drake Maye. I had the Vikings getting Drake Maye in my final mock draft. You all knew that I really loved Drake Maye. And the Patriots did the smart thing. They just took Drake Maye. And
it was reported that both the Vikings and the Giants did approach the Patriots to trade up to that spot. So
yeah, they did.
Know.
And I'm going to text my wife back because she's trying to go to bed.
And obviously, both the Vikings and the Giants failed with the Patriots. The Patriots thought it would be too crazy, and they stuck and got their quarterback, which they may ruin because they don't have anybody around him. But we'll see. We wish them the best of luck. They're not in our division. They're not in our conference, so I don't really care. But that caused our hopes for those that wanted May to drop. So that left J.J. McCarthy as the apple of everyone's eyes. And what was about to happen in the next series of selections is what set up your Minnesota Vikings drafting him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and man, I would have loved Drake Maye. It hurts, but yeah, let's talk about that really quick. SKOL TYA Catch 84. How in the world did Darrell Green not have his number retired? It must have been a situation where the ownership, like Darrell Green just hated ownership. That's why Kevin Garnett's number isn't retired for the Wolves, because he hates Glenn Taylor. So I'm wondering if maybe there was some animosity with Dan Snyder, and Darrell Green finally decided, you know what? All right, you guys can retire my number. That's okay. Because Darrell Green played 20 years there, and it was rumored to have run like a 4.15-ish 40, like sub 4.2. Just an absolutely insane athlete at the position. And we talk about insane athletes now, and we've seen tons of them. Insane athlete for the 1980s and 90s was different because the science and technology just was not there. So really impressive. Good for him. Yeah, but Drake Maye kind of sucks. Really disappointed, but we'll kind of get to the Minnesota Vikings picks and how they got there in a little bit. 4, Marvin Harrison Jr., they decided to stay too. A lot of discussions about trades up at the top, and none happened in the top 9. That was a little bit surprising to me, but it also just shows the value that teams placed on a lot of these offensive players. So 5, this was an interesting spot. Could it be receiver? Could it be a trade for a quarterback? They just took an offensive lineman. They took the best one on a lot of people's boards in Joe Alt. I thought Amarius Mims was the best offensive lineman. I thought that they might go J.C. Latham because of what type of player he is. And I think that's important. Fit matters a lot when you're talking about, especially in the trenches. If you're going to run a power running attack, you want guys who are power players. That's your preference. Joe Alt is not a power player. He's a very finesse tackle. Comp to Brian O'Neill. Like, that's not an insult. That isn't an insult at all. Too evil to hope. You're funny. But Alt is probably going to kick over to the right side, which I was listening to Steve Palazzolo and Sam Munson on my way home from the Fillmore. They were talking about the pick, and the idea of left tackles in college football, they're usually the best athletes among the tackles. And the NFL has a lot of success moving left tackles to right tackles because they're that athletic. And right tackles usually stay right tackles because they're theoretically the less athletic tackle on the football team. So I found that very interesting. And we know Joe Alt is a hyper athlete. He had a growth spurt late, which is why he's 6'8" and 5/8, and just really, really impressive football player. So he's going to be on the left side or right side. But are they going to be more of a power rushing attack? Or are they going to go more zone now because of the alt selection? I'm very intrigued. But they end up going chalk. And then the Giants, this is where the turn was for the Minnesota Vikings, Dave. What was kind of the vibe? Because I was at the Fillmore. And like, we were kind of worried, are the Giants going to take him? My lean was no, because of Brian Daboll. I didn't think that McCarthy was Daboll's type of quarterback. I thought he wanted an alien, and that's why they wanted Drake Maye. Maye's got that Justin Herbert, Josh Allen kind of play in him, and that is really appealing to a lot of coaches. So,
well, I can tell you, all the fan base, and I was watching numerous shows at once. Everybody was nervous, and they were wondering if Kwesi was, literally playing poker and had a big set of balls daring him to take it when I think there was Neighbors and Odunze still available, and they know the Giants could use a wide receiver that Danny Dimes can miss throws to. So we were wondering, we were nervous. Will the Giants, grab J.J. McCarthy at that spot? Kwesi stared him down. He made the right choice. Then we were all excited.
Yeah.
Then our next threat came from Denver.
Yeah. So my brain is so fried. It's been a long day, guys. It's been a long week. Been absolutely grinding, and hell, while at the Purple Daily Draft Party, I wrote about 15 articles and did full grade. So we're getting there, but just an interesting kind of couple picks here with the McCarthy thing. So they don't go McCarthy, they go Malik Neighbors, and now they have this massive yak guy. I thought they should have gone Rome Odunze. Why? Rome Odunze gives them something that they just did not have. But at the end of the day, like, Neighbors is really good. So it's probably going to work out. And I mean, the last time they took an LSU wide receiver round one, it worked out pretty well. Maybe it works out again here. 7, this is the interesting one. J.C. Latham, offensive tackle Alabama, goes to the Tennessee Titans. To me, Latham was just the best tackle that they had on the board. He played left tackle in high school, but he played guard and right tackle at Alabama. Oh, you're good, Odie. Yeah. And they really need a left tackle, not a right tackle. And apparently he's going to play left tackle. So I'm intrigued to see how that works out. I think he can do it in a power scheme, but I would much prefer him on the right side or on the interior. We'll find out. I just don't think he has the necessary foot speed and quickness to be able to really do a lot of that, Dave. So I'm fascinated to see what they end up doing. But this is where things get spicy.
No, this is where it gets real fun.
There were some interesting rumors going around earlier this week, talking about Michael Penix Jr. being an option for the Falcons at 8. It came to fruition as Michael Penix Jr. goes 8th overall. And it's a fascinating one. The Kirk Cousins camp didn't really have any heads up on this. They had talked, okay, there's a chance we can take a quarterback. All right, we'll take a quarterback. That's fine. Take one in round 3, round 4, round 5. Well, that's fine. Taking one to 8th overall after you give Kirk Cousins that type of money, $45 million average annual value a year, $100 million guaranteed over the first 3 years. It's a tough pill to swallow. And Terry Fontenot was talking about the idea of Michael Penix Jr. He's like, well, if he has to sit for 4 or 5 years, that's a hell of a luxury for us. That means we're doing good at the quarterback position. Dog, come on. What are we doing here? Why are we having that as the conversation? Why? That should not be the conversation. What should be the conversation is, hey, we got Michael Penix Jr. We believe he's going to be our future. And that's why we took him.
And as upset as Kirk Cousins, as hurt as his ego was and that of his agent, $100 million guaranteed is a nice salve to that, hurt. Just rub it on, Kirk. You'll be fine. Darren and I were talking about it before we came on the show tonight. And I'd be like, okay, I still get my $100 million. But it was a shocker. And Vikings fans were laughing. Oh, man. Were they laughing across the shows? Bob, right now I'm doing nothing but diet or Dr. Pepper Zero. I drank plenty of whiskey tonight.
Yeah. Very interesting. But to me, this was a BPA type of pick. This was a move that you make because you just think this guy is that good, even though you have I hold on. I just got something pulled up. I'm going to read it off.
Well,
Jim Harbaugh's having his press conference, Dave, and he said on McCarthy going to the Vikings, quote, "That's where he had his heart set, and I'm just so happy for him. Love him like a son, and I was praying and pulling for it to work out the way he wanted it to work out." End quote.
That's freaking awesome. Now, when it comes to Penix, he may get playing time quicker than people think. We don't know if Kirk Cousins is going to be ready for the season or not.
Yeah.
And 2 years from now, they'll put Penix at what, 28?
In 4 years, he'd be 28, yes.
So.
Crazy.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's move on. I talked about this live on the Purple Daily draft party. Listen, I know if you guys can get a chance to watch it, watch it. It was a vibe, man. It even had my brother pop on and say how much he wanted Dallas Turner before Dallas Turner was taken. And I'm like, I was deep in writing. I'm like, wait, is that my brother? And I'm like, no, chop. And I just kind of made fun of him. The Huddle Report mock draft scores have already been posted. Dang, they were quick this year. I probably didn't score very well, but that's okay. So it was a really fun time. I think you guys would enjoy it if you didn't watch it. But I said live, Rome Odunze, gotta hated that pick. Why'd I hate that pick? Because it was a really, really good pick.
Mm-hmm.
So DM Brooks says that Cousins' contract is only guaranteed for the first 2 years. Yes, but I'll say this. Because of how they structured their $50 million signing bonus, and there's $10 million guaranteed in year 3, it's a $35 million dead cap hit in 2026 if you move on from Kirk. And that's significant. And then you're on year 3 of a rookie contract. You're basically going to get 1 year of a rookie contract. That kind of sucks.
Mm-hmm.
So that matters.
With the Bears,
I love Odunze.
Selecting Odunze to go with Williams and what they have, I think the Bears are going to be tough, and they're going to make it hard on defenses. I think that's why later the Detroit Lions went and got themselves a corner.
Yeah. Wow. Somebody got 15 mock draft picks right. Holy shnikes.
Well, and then we're sitting there. We were at 11, and we traded up with the Jets. Swapped spots. Swapped 5th and the 4th.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I thought was quite reasonable to make sure that we blocked the Broncos, because the Broncos were talking about moving up as well.
Yeah. And we did. We ended up blocking the Broncos, and we traded up to 10th overall. And I'm going to pull that up here in just a second.
First time the Minnesota Vikings have drafted a top 10 quarterback in the history of the team.
Yeah. Ooh, I finished in 166th place. I was almost last place. Yeah, that's funny. I only got 25 of the first round picks, and I only got 4 right. That's pathetic. Let's talk about the trade, because I don't need any self-deprecation tonight. So the Vikings trade up to 10th. They got 203 back. So they got a 6th round pick, but they gave up 11, 129 in the 4th round, and 157 in the 5th. Is that too much? You could argue that. And that we're going to get to what all that looks like later. Here's the thing. I don't care how much they gave up. I wish it was less. Last year, Darnell Wright went at 9th overall or 10th overall because the Bears traded back 1 spot. They got a 4th round pick from next year, but it's different here. And it's different in the fact that it's a quarterback. And there were 2 teams behind. One of them ended up taking a quarterback. The Raiders didn't. I wouldn't be shocked if the Raiders took Spencer Rattler tomorrow. So I gave the trade an A+ because you kept 23, you played it patient, and you got a quarterback. Big win for the Minnesota Vikings. And McCarthy, we're going to have a lot of conversations about McCarthy. We're going to do some real breakdowns. If you want, when you're done here tomorrow, there's a SKOL search we did on McCarthy, breaking him down. I'm going to watch some more film on McCarthy over the course of time, and we're going to watch Dallas Turner too, which we're going to talk about Turner. I wasn't that high on the pick, considering what else was on the board. But
I liked it. I liked them both.
I mean, I don't hate the pick, but there's just so many other directions I thought were better. So, yeah, McCarthy, A+.
Mm-hmm.
Kwesi Adofo-Mensah was patient. He tried to go get Drake Maye, thought that McCarthy would slide because McCarthy just doesn't have those elite level traits. He just doesn't.
Well, I think it was on his press conference afterwards, which you would have still been at the theater, that he said the deal with McCarthy was he shows a lot of really good stuff, but there's areas that he doesn't show it because of the Michigan offense. He wasn't asked to do everything and, throw 50 passes a game and throw for 400 yards, yada, yada, because they didn't have to. They ran the football. That was the primary deal. But when he needed to, he did do it. It's just there's not a lot there to evaluate, but there's enough that they saw that they think he's going to be great. And there's also the leadership stuff that they absolutely loved.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. McCarthy's a good pick. He's a great fit for what the Vikings want to do. And we'll see. There was the question about how long JJ McCarthy should sit. And I was asked that, and I said, I don't know. Here's why. they're going to tell you based on how they handle things, based on, hey, hold on, David. My mock draft, I came in 166th. Come on. And the way it's done is like, I don't have a lot of inside sources, so I kind of go off the things I know. But it's a mock draft. There are some people that finished down low. Like Benjamin Solak finished 3 spots ahead of me. Like it's mock drafts. It's fun. It's less about the mock drafts and more about trying to make sure that you are as good as possible with your evaluations. To me, it's about the evaluations. And okay. Now let's talk, because we've already moved on from McCarthy. Now the Jets take Olu-Fashanu. They really needed a offensive tackle, and they got one. They got a good one. Fashanu's a phenomenal pass blocker. Kind of needs to learn how to some of those run blocking skills. He doesn't quite have that. And he'll get there. He will.
Aaron Rodgers is going to want him to pass block. That's the major thing there.
He'll get there. He really will. And I think a lot of it's just mentality. Like you can kind of get him more in the mindset. It also might be coaching, because Christian Darrisaw really wasn't a mauler or a finisher at Virginia Tech. Well, he is now. So I'm not super concerned about it. We'll kind of see how things develop and evolve over the course of time. But then, Dave, Bo Nix at 12th overall. This was one of the picks that I actually got right.
Mm-hmm.
I had Jane Daniels. I had Caleb Williams. I had Bo Nix. And who was the other one that I had? I think it was Jared Verse to the Rams. No, it was Quinyon Mitchell to the Eagles. That was the other one I got. Really weird first round, and we'll talk more about it. But look, if Nix was going to succeed anywhere, it's going to be at or with the Broncos. And that's going to be a big thing here, because Sean Payton understands how to maximize a quarterback without a lot of talent. Drew Brees was never a super talented guy, but good Lord, did they have a system that worked so well. And yeah, look, RMer33, I get it. I'm not a big Sean Payton guy either, but Payton knows how to maximize a guy like this. So we'll kind of see how it goes. We'll see. 13, Brock Bowers, another high tight end for the Las Vegas Raiders. Now, this regime did not take Michael Mayer. That needs to be said. And I think this is just, Brock Bowers is too good. We're not going to pass him.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody really talked about this being a possibility, but I think it works. I think it's good. I like it. I like it a lot. I didn't initially. The more I thought about it, I really liked it.
And that's why you think they're going for Rattler to back up and possibly win the job tomorrow.
I think it's possible, yeah. 14, New Orleans Saints, Talias Fuanga. There is no N in his name, but I believe he's Samoan by heritage, and Samoan with how they utilize conjugation. A-G is Ang. So it's Anga. And I've just thought that was interesting when I heard it. But gosh, he's a good football player. and with Ryan Ramczyk maybe never playing football again, he's probably going to play right away. And then if he does play football, guess what? You can just put him at guard. He's going to be really good.
And they showed him on there with his family. He looks like he has a nice family, and he's wearing a lei. They all were, and they were crying, and it was a good thing.
15, Laiatu Latu. First defensive player off the board. And it's good. Good football player. It's also an anti kind of Chris Ballard pick because he usually takes hyper athletes. And Latu's not a bad athlete, but he's not a great athlete. No stop. He may be Tongan. I do know that how like the conjugation for his name, whether he's Samoan or Tongan, is like that conjugation is correct. So if I got the Samoan part wrong and he's Tongan, I apologize. I'm not WWE. I know that they're different. But Latu, he's just a technical wizard, and I think he's going to do a really good job in helping fix that pass rush in Indianapolis. 16, Seattle Seahawks. I thought this was a really big trade down candidate. They take Byron Murphy, not an edge rusher, another interior guy, when they have a pretty strong interior. But a really, really interesting pick there. But he's good. 310 pounds, a little small, but he can play nose because of how he plays and how he utilizes leverage. And because he can play nose, that's a big thing moving forward for him. So I thought it was a good pick. I would have preferred to trade down for the Seahawks so they could maybe get a second rounder back. Sometimes you just can't make it work. So is what it is. Plus, I mean, there have been rumors that they maybe trade DK Metcalf. Maybe a DK Metcalf trade comes to fruition on day 2. I think it would be a mistake, but that you never know. Maybe Mike McDonald just doesn't want DK Metcalf. That's all speculation. Let's get to Turner. And our Emmer's like, is it fair to say that Flores was pounding the table for Turner? I don't know if it's fair to say, but if they're trading up and trading that kind of capital to go get Turner, I think you can have a real conversation about this being a Brian Flores pick. And he has a Brian Flores stamp of approval. Pounding the table, I understand the kind of thought process behind it, but I don't know. I really don't know.
Well, KOC in either his post draft press conference or the interview with one of the other guys said they had Turner up for a visit, part of the visit, and they spent a lot of time with him. Plus, they met with him down at the Senior Bowl, and they've done a lot of talking, and they really like the kid. And they think they like the fact that both J.J. McCarthy and Turner come from winning traditions, both with good cultures, being Alabama and Michigan, that teach their players how to play and make the transition into the pros all that better. And they really, really loved that they got him. They thought he was by far one of the best edge rushers in the class, and they were surprised he fell that low.
Yeah, I'm not going to lie. I was a little surprised myself. But they got their guy. And Turner is a fascinating football player because, like, there is a lot to like. He is a hyper athlete. He is the reigning SEC Defensive Player of the Year, as I kind of get a couple documents updated here.
He had a boatload of sacks, boatload of pressures.
Yeah, I think that it's an overall good pick. I've kind of come around on it. I'm just really, really disappointed it wasn't Chop. And I also thought what they gave up was a little much. But that's okay. So here's the trade. They gave up 23, 167, third and fourth round picks next year. Mm-hmm. So right now, officially, now this is the important part. Officially, the Vikings only have a first and 2 fifths next year. They do not have a second, a third, a fourth, a sixth, or a seventh.
As of now.
They're projected to get a third round comp pick.
At least one.
That's important.
Possibly 2.
Depending on the Shaq Griffin contract. But we'll find out more because remember, they were supposed to get a third for Trey Waynes, but Waynes tore his pec in training camp. That became a fourth. So it's not unprecedented that could go lower. Yeah. Nothing's a guarantee. And it's just interesting that Kwesi adofo-mensah is not prioritizing draft picks in the same way. I'm very intrigued as to try and dig into why. But he's trading a lot. And I'm actually going to dig into some trades for Kwesi and try to figure out his draft day trades and see like what's working and what's not. Christopher, thank you for the super chat. Much appreciated. Let's answer your question. What are your thoughts with the realistic remaining targets with the lack of picks now? Boyd, I'm guessing you mean Christian Boyd, the defensive tackle, Northern Iowa, or Quantas Stiggers, the cornerback from the Toronto Argonauts of the CFL. Look, at 108, I'm going to pound the table for Jarvis Brownlee Jr. I love the kid. He is just feisty. He is going to kick your ass and ask for seconds. I like the idea of Stiggers. I think Boyd is more of like a 5th or 6th round guy, but I think he's going to go higher than that. So I don't love the idea of 108. I actually think the Vikings may trade back from 108 and maybe go back down to like 130-ish and try to recoup some draft capital. Maybe like last year they traded down a significant amount in round 4 to the top round, to the bottom of round 4, and they got a round 5 pick this year from Kansas City. Maybe they try to do something like that. And I'm really intrigued to kind of see what that will end up looking like. I'm not really 100% sure how they're going to handle day 3, but there's some interesting guys, and we're going to be live during rounds 2 and 3 tomorrow. And we're going to have some real conversations about some of that. Anthony mentions Christian Mahogany. Yeah, I had Christian Mahogany in quite a few mock drafts. I think he's a really good football player. And I like that. I like Christian Mahogany a lot.
I do too.
But yeah, I think there's some interesting guys at the top of round 3. So Turner, really hyper athlete, ran like a 4.47 40, just an absolute freakazoid. But he doesn't have a really cohesive pass rush plan. And considering that he played for Nick Saban and he has that lack of a plan, was pretty concerning to me. He really just tried to run around the edge. And I mean, he could do it. And he had a couple long arms that were really, really good, but just not a lot of plans per se. Sean asking for a Dallas Turner versus Chop Robinson side by side. I'm going to be honest, I won't do that because Chop Robinson he's not a Viking. So we're probably not going to do that. But I can tell you this, Sean, we do have SKOL searches on both Chop Robinson and Dallas Turner up there. And you can go take a look and kind of see for yourself. But we're just going to talk about Dallas Turner. We're not going to go in depth on Chop because he ended up with the Miami Dolphins. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But look, this is a high upside play who's not going to be counted on right away. And apparently they told him the second he gets off the plane to start rushing the passer. So they have a plan for him. There is a plan. Knack, Cam Harder, Jarvis Brownlee Jr. corner. Yes, please. I'm in. All right. Let's get to some of these picks and talking more about stuff. Okay. So Which one did you minimize?
Minimize. It's miming. It's me pointing and doing all this stuff.
Oh, miming. Okay. My brain read that as minimize. Man, I am tired.
No, only banned one tonight.
Yeah. Okay. Bengals at 18 take a Marius Mims. Really good football player.
Surprised he dropped that far.
I am and I'm not. He had some injury concerns. He only started like 8 games. But at Georgia, when he played, he was so good. And that's why he was my OT1. I just thought he was special, a size and mover. And that's the kind of guy I wanted on my football team. It was like if Trent Williams played right tackle. Like, I'm just like, yes. And he doesn't have to play right away. But what fascinates me here, Dave, he's going to learn from 2 huge guys. Orlando Brown is bigger than Amarius Mims. Trent Brown is like the same size as Amarius Mims. They're going to learn, or he's going to learn a lot from those 2. And that is going to help him grow and develop. And I'm very intrigued to kind of see how that looks. I thought maybe they'd take an edge rusher here, considering Troy Hendrickson just asked for a trade. But they go tackle, and I think that's still a good move. 19, Jared Verse, Florida State edge rusher, goes to the Los Angeles Rams. Good pick. They need pass rush juice, and they get it. And they get it from Verse, who is a really good football player. And they have to approach their pass rush significantly different now without Aaron Donald. And you're going to have to bring in different players, different play styles, and try and figure it out that way. And I think this is a really good start. 20 was one of my favorite players in the draft, all Forno team member, Troy Fautino, Washington offensive tackle. He's probably going to play guard. He could play left tackle, though. He was a left tackle at Washington. He was really good at it.
The guys from the Steel Curtain Network talked about possibly they might be trying him at center as well.
Mm-hmm. There was some talk about him actually playing center. He's only 6'3" and 5'8". So, and his movement skills, Dave, I'd say his movement skills are better than Garrett Bradbury. Like, imagine having a better anchor in Garrett Bradbury at center. That's kind of the idea of moving him inside. I don't know if I love it. I'd let him fail a tackle first, but hell yeah. 21, my guy Chop Robinson. I love Chop. I had people clamoring for Chop with me at the Purple Daily Draft Party. It was a lot of fun. But I think he goes to a really good spot. Bradley Chubb and Jalen Phillips are both coming off injuries. He's going to get real work, and he's not going to be counted on at the same time. He just fits what they want to do. And I'm really intrigued. No Stop asked if Dallas Turner's at the top of the Vikings board. I would guess so, yeah. I haven't had a chance to listen to press conferences or read the transcripts or anything. I'll probably get to that in the morning. But yeah, a really, really good. They obviously loved the pick. So I get it. 22. I had the Eagles trading up to 12 to take Toledo's Quinyon Mitchell, the cornerback. They desperately needed a corner. This is the first time they've taken a corner in the first round since 2002. Florida's Lito Shepherd was the pick. Vikings great Lito Shepherd, by the way. Look, they desperately needed a corner, and they got it. Good for Howie Roseman going against his own tendencies.
Well, everybody was surprised that Quinyon Mitchell lasted that long, and that they sat there and waited, and he came to him.
Yeah. Good football player, though. 23, Brian Thomas Jr., the wide receiver from LSU. A little surprise here. Thought they might go Terrion Arnold. Thought they might go Kool-Aid McKinstry, who's shockingly still on the board. Really surprised by that, considering you got a clean bill of health that was reported earlier in the day by James Palmer. Look, Turner's going to be able to stretch you vertically, and I think it's a really impressive thing. And it's something that the Jaguars just don't have. They signed Gabe Davis, but Davis just isn't the vertical threat that you think he would be. But now they have 2 towers and then Christian Kirk on the inside. I like where this team is going. I like it a lot. I want to talk to Sampson's. Like, imagine hating on Dallas Turner because you want to chop Robinson. Turner was easily the best edge rusher in class. I didn't have it that way, and I know a lot of people did. I had Chop at 1 and Turner at 4. Like,
but you weren't the only one in the business that was high on Chop either.
No,
I just a few.
I have some concerns with Turner that I just don't think other people have as much as I do, and you know what? That's okay. But he's a Viking, and I hope he works out. And it's not like I didn't think he was going to be bad. I just thought that Chop was a better player, and we'll find out. Only time will tell on that.
Big Raylan Dad says he's a beast, and he's going to be better than Hunter.
He's more athletic than Hunter, which is shocking.
And let's hope. Let's hope. Hunter was great. If Turner turns out to be better than Hunter, we're all going to be happy.
We'll take it all day. 24. This was a really good trade up by the Detroit Lions. Terrion Arnold, Alabama corner, my 3rd ranked player in the class, and he goes to Detroit, which for us kind of sucks. I did not like it, but it was a really, really good move. They only gave up 73, and remember, 73 was the Vikings' 3rd round pick. So in essence, the Vikings helped the Lions make this trade. Woof, that kind of stunk. But Arnold, they needed a corner, and they got one, and he's real good. So that kind of stings. Oh, he is fast, Sean. Turner is absolutely fast. Okay, 25. Jordan Morgan, Arizona offensive lineman. I'm fascinated by this, Dave, because he doesn't really fit their thresholds at all. Kind of T-Rexy arms, are under 33 inches, but they don't take guards in round 1. So I think they're drafting him to play tackle. And if they're drafting him to play tackle, I don't really get it. This one feels a little weird to me. I don't understand this pick. I think Jordan Morgan's a good football player, but specifically, we're talking about how the Packers draft didn't make sense.
That's okay. I hope they screw it up.
I wouldn't have taken him here. I would have taken Tyler Guyton. So I think Guyton's a better player, and Guyton went later. We'll talk about him, but interesting. Plus, they could have taken this guy, Graham Barton from Duke, who I thought was an even better player than Jordan Morgan. Barton played left tackle at Duke. He's probably going to move inside and play center. He can play guard too. I mean, he can still play tackle, but he's got short arms. And just his style of play, he's going to be much better. And he's just going to be better on the inside. So the Bucks, Ryan Jensen, he's retired. They need help on the interior. And they're going to get it with Barton. I think that's a really solid pick. 27, Missouri edge Darius Robinson. What in the world are these guys doing? Why are they taking Robinson? He's not a true edge. He's a 5 technique. They got a bunch of those guys. Just a weird fit. A good football player, but a weird fit. So that was interesting. This one fascinated me. The Chiefs trade up from 32 to go get Xavier Worthy, the wide receiver from Texas. He goes zoom, zoom. Now, what's interesting about this is the last time the Chiefs and Bills made a round 1 trade, Dave, the Chiefs got Patrick Mahomes. So is this going to haunt the Bills in the same way that they gave Patrick Mahomes the fastest player potentially in the history of the National Football League?
Probably.
Who's to say? But if I were the Chiefs, I wouldn't have, or the Bills, I wouldn't have traded with the Chiefs. They did get a good deal, but
well, it looked like because Buffalo then later goes to trade out of the first round. Buffalo's trying to stack some picks for other needs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. 29, Tyler Guyton, and the offensive tackle from Oklahoma. Good pick. And they got 73 to go get him. Guyton can play left and right side. And I think that's really important. He can do a little bit of both. And I think Tyler Smith is probably going to be a left guard at this point, but that's fine. He's really good at it. So, Christopher, thank you. It is worth it if they're studs. I'm going to do a long form article to kind of looking at draft picks. I'm going to get it approved with a reef, and then I'll get it submitted probably next week. 30, Nate Wiggins, cornerback from Clemson. This is such a pick by the Baltimore Ravens. Fast man cover corner, long, skinny, but doesn't play with a lack of physicality. Just a really good football player. I like Wiggins. I had a first round grade on him. Goes to a really good spot. This one, Dave, was wild. San Francisco 49ers take a wide receiver. They don't take Adonai Mitchell. They don't take Ladd McConkey. Ricky Pearsall from Florida goes in the first round. I thought this was a little bit of a reach in the fact that there were just better receivers on the board, even better receivers at the style of receiver that Pearsall is. And I'm just like, really? I thought that was interesting. Timothy Slack thinks the Bills might take Ladd McConkey with the first pick in the second round. I wonder if the Bills are going to trade for Brandon Ayuk. That's my theory right now. So that'll be interesting. But Pearsall's really good football player, and I think he's going to get better with better surroundings because his surroundings just haven't been great. Lastly, the Panthers move up from 33 to 32, and they secure their receiver, Xavier Legette from South Carolina. He's a fascinating player, Dave, because with Legette, he didn't play receiver to start his career at South Carolina. What he did was he was a quarterback, and then he was kind of like a Cordell Stewart, a slash. And he's still learning and growing and developing as a wide receiver. So there's time for him. And he played really, really well, despite this past year being hyper focused by the offense. And then the defense focused on him. And he was still efficient and explosive. So I think that's an interesting type of player. I think they needed this type of player to complement the guys that they have on the roster. So really good pick by Carolina. And they still have 39th overall to get another talented player to add to their roster. So Bryce Young gets help. And I think that was good. Yeah, Chris, I did question it because shockingly, I thought the Georgia guy, Ladd McConkey, should have went over Pearsall. But that's the thing with the NFL draft. You got to take your fan hat off. And I try to do that as much as absolutely possible. But that's the first round. Any overarching thoughts, Dave, on round one?
Well, I thought the Vikings did fantastic, and that's what I care about because I'm a fan. I think they are building towards the window we always talk about. I think the next 5 years are going to be special. And for all those that are worried about all the draft picks that were given up and how few we have, you got to remember we're going to have a boatload of cap space. And when it comes to folks that care about specifically the interior offensive line, it's a great place to find good guards and centers is the guys coming off their first contracts that are good and to grab them that way because they had that 3 to 4 years worth of development I always talk about. And they're ready to hit the ground running. And that's going to put the Vikings aren't there yet. They don't have the fully complete roster, but within the next couple years, they will. And I think if I think the NFC North has gotten really, really good, really, really fast, or the potential to be. And as long as they don't beat up on each other, it's going to be the class of the NFC, I think. I think the West is going to lose its luster, and then it's going to be a powerhouse. And as long as the Vikings keep building the way they're doing and play smart like they should and have that leader and a quarterback like I think we got tonight, things are bright for Vikings fans. They may actually win one before I die.
I love to hear that. I need it. I need it. I need a Super Bowl. And what else I need, Dave? I need sleep. It was a great day. It was a successful day. Anybody who was out at the Purple Daily Draft Party, thank you. Anybody who's been supporting us here and is watching live, we reached over 170 people after midnight tonight. That's how excited people are. Thank you. There's 127 people still here. Greatly appreciate you guys sticking around. The couple super chats we had, and at least one of them was from Christopher. Thank you. Like, comment, subscribe. We're going to have a lot more the next few days. We're going to have a lot more the next few weeks. Look, just because the NFL draft may be done, we're going to have a lot more coming. And there's going to be a lot of really good stuff, and I can't wait for it. We're going to be live 6 p.m. Central Time tomorrow for day 2 of the NFL draft. We're going to be live 11 a.m. for day 3 of the NFL draft. And we're going to have a lot of great stuff for you. And we're going to have some special guests. We're going to have some fun. And I want you guys to sleep well, knowing that the Vikings have their franchise quarterback and we don't have to worry about who it's going to be anymore. No more debates. Is it J.J. McCarthy? Is it Jaden Daniels? Is it Drake Maye? Is it Michael Penix Jr.? Is it Bo Nix? Nope. We have it. It's J.J. McCarthy. And now we have to worry about how we're going to help J.J. McCarthy lead this team to a Super Bowl. Until we're live tomorrow afternoon, make sure you follow all my stuff at the Sporting News. Go check out the great coverage that we had at the Purple Daily Draft Party at SKOL North. I'm Tyler. He's Dave. SKOL Vikings, baby.
SKOL Vikings. Thanks for watching Vikings First and SKOL. Please like, subscribe, and ring the bell, and share this episode with your friends and even your enemies. We'd love it. We are part of the Fans First Sports Network, and we appreciate each and every one of you. SKOL.